Everything fantasy football, you have to ask one question. Don't you deserve a fighting chance? And now, welcome to Fighting Chance Live with your hosts, Kevin Tompkins and Scott Fishbowl 9 winner, Gary Haddow.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome into Fighting Chance Live. As always, I am Kevin Tompkins of FightingChanceFantasy.com. As always, to my right, the smiling, undershirtless Gary Haddow. Gary, my friend, how are you this evening?
I'm doing fantastic. I just found out that, if you mount a TV against a wall and you just let it kind of hang, that eventually the HDMI cable that goes in the back of it bends and just randomly stops working. So we're having to live first world problems and actually watch TV on our couch tonight. It's terrible.
Oh, is there
no TV in the bedroom?
Can you send me your address so I can send you a card? I mean, do you have a GoFundMe or you have anything?
Yep, we're starting one. We'll see. I need to raise $7.21 from HDMI cable.
Yeah, I'll make sure I drop a link on my Twitter for that. Fighting Chance Live. Of course, we have the awesome Samantha Praviti of the New York Post. Samantha, how are you?
Doing great. You know what, Gary? You're rubbing it in that you have at least 2 TVs in your house. I don't even have anything. It's echoey. I feel like people are like, wow, your place must be really big. It's no, it's completely empty. That's why it's echoey. So.
No TVs, just TikTok everywhere.
Literally just I've just been TikToking all over the place. So.
Get one of those fridges that has the screen on it and you'll be good.
Yeah, you know what? I'm just so deprived. I don't have one of those. So if someone could also make me a GoFundMe for that fridge, that would be great.
For those fancy ass $5,000 fridges. Oh my God, they're insane.
Yeah.
We will get the Fighting Chance Live interns to get those GoFundMe set up while we're live tonight. But Samantha, thank you for joining us again. Your second time here. If you don't know, Samantha, tell everybody where they can find everything that you are doing on the World Wide Web.
Sure. So you can find me on Twitter at Samantha NFL. That's definitely where I'm most active. I'm on Instagram and TikTok at SPRVIT, SPREVIT, my last name. And you can find my written work, which will be, it's multiple articles a day. They're maybe one of them is good a day or worth reading, but on nypost.com. So.
Awesome. Can't wait to get this started. We will have Ryan Hallam too, but he is fashionably late. Is he ready?
He just asked for it.
All right. Well, we will do that. So if you want to run us into the first game, Gary, I will get Ryan in here.
All right. So we're just going to jump right into it. Oh man, it's going to be a wild Thursday night game. Get a little bit of a rematch with Arizona at Seattle. It's going to be a fun game. I think the entire NFL is looking forward to seeing if Russell Wilson can continue to shit the bed and if Kyler Murray can supplant him in the MVP race. So it's going to be fun. Hopefully they tie and they both end up losing somehow, but I don't know. We'll see what the NFL decides to do this week. So going into the actual questions, I think Kyler, you're never sitting Kyler. I think he's one of the most locked and loaded wide receiver ones, elite right now. But that backfield, Samantha, who are you looking to play out of this backfield? Drake, Edmonds, maybe throw in some Eno. I'm just kidding. That's not
I mean, I guess it's Drake for now that he's healthy, but it doesn't feel good. I'm still a Chase Edmonds believer, I want to say. I'm still convinced that Chase Edmonds is the better runner and should have this job, but he doesn't. So I guess for now, they're kind of both in that RB2. Maybe Edmonds is in an RB3 range. I don't know. They both feel kind of gross at this point.
I feel like the amount of excitement you have in even talking about that backfield really exemplifies that backfield and how excited you should be to have to start one of them.
Let's take a quick pause. Ryan, my friend.
I was just going to say, if this is the kind of energy we're going to have all night, it's going to be a long show. I demand a little bit more than this,
You demand. Okay.
I do. I know Kenyon Drake and Chase Edmonds aren't that exciting, but come on, we got to bring some energy for the people. Let's do it. It's week 11, for God's sake. We're all burnt out, but let's bring it.
It is, and it's awesome because this is like going to be a bonanza game. 57.5 point total. I'm psyched. A lot of points.
I see how psyched you are.
Go to them, right? Psyched for everybody in this game.
Psyched for
not
other
Chase
people.
Edmonds.
Yes, a psyched for people not named Kenyon Drake and Chase Edmonds.
She's more just like psych.
Kev, what the hell? You didn't send me the link, bro. I felt like I got phased out before I even got in here.
Dude, I just sent it to you.
Yeah, it's 5 minutes. It's 9:40. I thought I was gonna get it like 9.
I wanted to give you time to get your lucha mask and get everything going. And
It's up there.
I know it is. I can kind of see it.
I know.
Do you guys shower at night? I just discovered that Ryan's a night shower, and it confuses the hell out of me when I meet people like this.
Yes, Ryan has been extolling the virtues of the shower beer, and I did. Actually
Shower beer is the greatest thing ever.
My hair.
You know what? I also recently had shower margarita for the first time, which I also recommend.
Wow.
I never had that before, but definitely
That
shower
is super
margarita.
galaxy brain. I love it.
Yeah, I was pretty excited about that when I first thought about that. But yeah, I mean, why not go to bed clean? I'm not going anywhere in the morning anyway. I'm sitting my ass on my couch.
Yeah, I'm gonna sneak in this question here from. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce his name. Carson Wentz or Jameis Winston. Yeah, I'm gonna probably go with Carson Wentz here over Jameis Winston, but it's not. Yeah, I don't feel good about either, honestly.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna go with.
Be always decisive, Gary Haddow.
I'm gonna go with Winston just because you can't really trust Wentz right now, and I think that is the biggest indictment of how crappy Carson Wentz is playing. Like, at some point, are they gonna just try out Hurts and just like give him an entire game and see what happens?
I feel like they have to at some point. I don't know. He's been playing so badly. I know a lot of it's the O-line because it's like 32nd in the league in sacks allowed. I'm gonna go with Winston because you have to like YOLO, live a little. Like it's gonna be exciting to watch him. I miss him. Like we all miss him for fantasy.
Exactly. 3 interceptions for Wentz of 4 per
There you go, Steve.
Our good friend Steve Rappin.
So yeah, come on here. We have to have Steve with me because I have some things to say to him. It's been a long time since I've talked to him.
Yeah, exactly. We tried to get that done, and someone decided to no show. Big leagued, right? Was that what happened, Gary? I don't even know. I don't smoke, but I can't remember shit.
But in all seriousness, I am gonna go Winston here. I just the weapons, the offense. If nothing less, you get Kamara, and you're gonna get some dump offs there, and it'll just be fun to see what happens with Winston. But it's not something that you tried to convince me that that's the wrong thing, and it's Wentz instead. I would probably say, yeah, you're right.
Right. Well, let's get back into that back. I mean, if we're talking about that backfield for the Cardinals, I mean, you're looking at, Kyler Murray, who's just running all over the place, and that's going to cap all that upside for Kenyon Drake. I mean, if you drafted him at the beginning of the second round, even then the end of the first, I know I did. That's definitely you're not feeling good about this whole situation. I mean, Kenyon Drake really is his ceiling is a mid-range RB2 right now. Chase Edmonds is going to be, it's as close to a split. I mean, Drake played 52% of the snaps last week. Edmonds played 49% of the snaps. Still both did fantastic, but week to week, Edmonds is probably in that RB3 range for me.
I agree. I think Drake is going to continue to get the volume, whether he deserves it or not. I think they've kind of proven that. It's just not going to do all that great with it. If you average 3.5 yards a carry, you're probably getting something good out of him that week, and you hope Edmonds catches a couple passes and breaks one for 20 yards and gets you a decent day. But I think you're right. This is, unless there's another injury, this is kind of what we have to look at. Drake getting 15 carries, Edmonds probably getting 7 and some catches, and kind of hoping he turns something into a decent play.
I feel like the weirdness of 2020 is having a league where I was so pumped to have Drake and Edmonds and like some other pieces, and I'm starting Kalen Ballage over both Drake and Edmonds. And it's just like, what the hell is going on?
That is the most 2020.
I mean, I'm at the point. Oh, sorry, Ryan.
Go ahead. No.
I literally was just going to say I'm at the point where it's like Savon Ahmed or Kenyon Drake. And that doesn't feel like a good
I'm just here for the eye candy. You guys are here for the fantasy analysis.
We're just here to look at you. I do have a question moving out from the backfield, and that's Christian Kirk. He seemed like he was getting into his NBA jam on fire. And then he didn't really show up quite as much as he did all of a sudden blinking on what actually happened this past week. But I believe he came back down to earth. Yeah, he
4
came
for
back down to earth.
27.
I was going to say 4 for 37. Yeah, I knew it wasn't good.
But now he's going back up against the Seattle defense, historically bad. If you haven't heard, you haven't been paying attention just how bad they are. I think that you can fire back up Kirk. I'm not going to really question it. Everybody has a blip every once in a while. And, he's getting the targets that he needs, and he has a skill set to be able to produce on them. Would you guys agree?
Yeah, I feel like you could start everyone in this game. It's just going to be super high scoring, a lot of throwing, a lot of stuff. So I'm excited to start him. I think it's like a high-end flex wide receiver 3 type guy, which is good for him. Like that's not. Yeah.
So moving in.
I was just gonna say he had 2 touchdowns in the first game, but only had like 5 catches for 39 yards. So it was kind of lucky that he got the touchdowns. But you're right, Seattle is so bad that the Rams receivers can't take advantage of it, but everyone else can.
Well, Josh Reynolds can.
Just-
The new Brandon Cooks, by the way.
On the other
Kevin,
side
what are
of
you
the ball.
drinking?
I am drinking the Pete Oberzet recommended Cerveza Tecate.
Okay. Is everyone drinking? Should I get a drink?
Yeah,
I have water.
I got a cocktail.
All right.
I asked if there was drinking and no one responded. So
Because
said
it should
yes.
be implied.
I had a gift that implied drinking, okay?
Yeah, no, Gary replied. So
I scoffed at the
think-
question.
yeah.
oh, is that what that was?
Yes. Excuse me, guys. I have a little bit of a cough.
Me too.
Seattle. So big news for Seattle is we have Tyler Lockett knee sprain. I don't actually know if he's going to be held out, but we did happen to see. You think he'll be out?
Yeah, I think Pete Carroll came out and said he was running all over the place. So I haven't seen anything negative about it other than the fact that he had that sprain. So he should be fine.
Oh, okay. Phew. I thought it was the opposite you were saying. Yeah. And yet we did see the emergence of rookie Freddie Swain, number 18. I kept being like, who the hell is this guy? But he was getting targets. He looked kind of good. Do you have any interest in playing him?
No. They can't get David Moore gets to like a lucky long pass every now and again. I don't know that we can. The tight end never is fantasy relevant. I can't imagine all of a sudden the guy who just started playing in week 11 is all of a sudden going to like jump up and be the third receiver. I can't explain how there's only 2 guys on this team, given that what Russell Wilson's stats are. But it's kind of like Kansas City. Like Kansas City, they have all these great stats, and it's 2 guys and nothing else. So Seattle's kind of the same thing. It's Metcalf or Sanders or Metcalf or Lockett. One of them goes bananas, and everyone else gets the scraps.
He's in that like MVS range for me, where you're like hoping
something will happen.
Yeah.
And
I was going to say, Swain would have been interesting if Lockett was out because he does play 32% of the snaps in the slot. So, if Lockett's out, that's probably your go-to there. But other than that, with those 2 guys there, it's really David Moore if getting anything if it's not those 2.
Yeah. And it seems like Carlos Hyde's going to be back. And it's interesting when you see just since Chris Carson went out, like I feel like that's the dip that we've seen. Yeah, Wilson had a good game against the Niners. But since then, like he just hasn't had good games. Carson hasn't been out. It feels like they've just been much more one-dimensional. DJ Dallas is not filling that role well. So who knows if Carlos Hyde, when he comes back in, he does not have an injury designation. So if you happen to have been holding him, you could play him. He's probably going to be more of like a deeper flex. But at this time of year, bye weeks, injuries, there's worse that you could do at running back. So
I think I have to start him in Scott Fishbowl this week. So I picked up him and Collins.
Yeah, for some reason they want to play Collins more too. That Pete Carroll did say that. So, dust them all off, I guess. Dust off the old fogies there, and Collins and Carlos Hyde.
On your awesome Scott Fishbowl team, Samantha?
My awesome Scott Fishbowl team. My 8-2 Scott Fishbowl team that like my wide receiver 2 is like Julian Edelman.
it's fantastic.
I don't
Do
know.
I get some?
A
Do I get
win's a
some
win.
equity in that, Sam? Since we were going back and forth in the DMs on that.
I know, right? Literally, this is how like I've met all of you guys. Scott Fishbowl has been so cool to like meet everyone here. But yeah, I have as Ryan pointed out, like the fewest points against in my entire division. So
That's amazing.
just really lucky. Defense wins championships. So
Dude,
It's four good players and a lot of trash.
It's all
Yeah,
worth
it sounds
it,
like
man.
my team.
I have Patrick Mahomes. So
That's like
Sometimes-
3 players right there.
Sometimes Jameis Winston throws 30 interceptions and still gets you a title. So hey,
Or Aaron Jones goes bananas.
love him. All right, Kevin, take us to the next game. We're done with the Seahawks Arizona game. Start who you know you're going to start in that game. So let's move on.
Yeah, let's go over to Eagles at the Browns. Hopefully the weather is going to, help us out a little bit with some fantasy goodness. So with Philly, we know Miles Sanders is going to play. But Carson Wentz, we thought with him getting all his weapons back, we were going to be able to trust him again with Travis Fulgham, Jalen Reagor, Dallas Goedert coming back. Now he's has Alshon Jeffrey. But still, even despite all these weapons coming back, Carson Wentz is just still terrible. And yeah, you can blame that on the line, but against this team, against the Cleveland Browns, who can be passed on, are we trusting Carson Wentz? I mean, at any point, if we can't trust him now, when can we trust him? And I'll send that over to Ryan.
I mean, for fantasy purposes, if you look, a lot of his games haven't been that bad. He does have a bunch of 2-touchdown games. It's just real football. He sucks. And I think with getting the weapons back, and I don't think Ertz is coming back this week. I know they put him on the little 21 day to activate him thing. And I'm not sure that's not the official terminology.
The little list.
The 21 day activate him thing. But he's okay for fantasy purposes. It depends a lot on his matchups to me. Gets the trash Giants a couple times, gets the trash Cowboys a couple times. He plays against a decent defense, then I'm shying away from him. And this one, God knows what the freaking weather's going to be, the way it's been for the past few weeks. I think if he plays in reasonable conditions, he'll be okay. I mean, the Browns have Denzel Ward and then not much else in the secondary. So it's just a matter. I'm more worried about Fulgham than anything else. That's kind of the storyline, the fantasy storyline to me in this one. Now that everybody came back, he laid a total egg last week. Was that one bad game, or is he not going to see as much action with everyone back?
I'm terrified to see what happens against Myles Garrett. Dude's playing defensive player of the year right now. I mean, if he's not the front runner, he is at least in the top 3. So I feel like he's going to make Wentz brown all over his pants. So
and he might.
See what I did there?
He could always beat him with his helmet at any point.
Yeah.
You never know.
Dallas Goedert, any interest?
So upset with him. I really like him. I think he's so good. And then when Ertz went out, I got so excited. I thought he was going to come back and just be this awesome guy. And it's just been one diarrhea in the bed after another. I don't know what is going on. It's pissing me off because I picked him up and stashed him everywhere. Kevin, what is going on in your house, bro? The lights keep flashing on and off.
It's my
North
screen,
Dakota, man.
because the screen is too bright. I gotta figure out my lighting shit.
you gotta get a
if my
ring
light,
light, like the TikTokers have, right?
I keep thinking like aliens are going to come up behind you and take you away.
No, it's
I
just
mean,
it's the Wentz lovers because of all the hate that Kevin throws.
It's South Dakota.
Yeah.
COVID might be coming to get you.
I mean, there's enough of it here. We don't need it from South Dakota too.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're in North Dakota. My bad.
Just say Dakota. You'll just instead of that coin flip.
It's all the same.
But yeah, but with like Dallas Goedert, I mean, we know that Dallas Goedert is a fantastic blocking tight end, and that's the thing. When Ertz was there, Ertz was the receiving guy, and Dallas Goedert was pretty much kept in to block. He had I believe, the second highest blocking stats per PFF since 2018 when he was a rookie. So I mean, that's the thing. They're not gonna just take him out of that role and just make him that, running all those routes. Unless, I mean, that was pretty much why Richard Rodgers is still doing a little bit, is because Goddard's been in and Rodgers has been running some routes. So, we all wish that with Zach Ertz gone, that Dallas Goedert could be that top 6 tight end. There's no roadblock there for him to do that, but the roadblock is his blocking.
Some of us may have proclaimed it.
It's like 2 weeks in a row, or rather 2 weeks that they've played in a row, that I put him in my start category. The second week in a row, I literally was like, trust the process, guys.
Yep.
I know it was bad, but yeah, it's been disappointing. So I don't even know what to do. I have like him and like another mediocre tight end on one league. So I'm kind of waffling between who to start. I'm going to trust the process maybe third week in a row.
I think
It's the process.
Yeah, I think it's worth starting and just hopefully he gets it right. I don't know. We'll move on from Philly because they're just a dumpster fire. Cleveland. Cleveland identity is they want to run the ball as much as possible. And I mean, Jesus, Nick Chubb should have gone like 150, and it should have been 2 touchdowns, but he smartly did not pull a Todd Gurley, and he actually went out of bounds and did not take the touchdown. They got the solid win. Solid is not the right word for whatever that win was, but they won 10-7 against the Texans.
Despite the environment.
Yeah, completely. So do you think that – so Chubb's obviously a locked and loaded RB1. Even against this tough defense, that's the question. Is he still an RB1?
Yeah.
Okay.
To me,
what about Kareem Hunt?
I feel like he's a high upside RB2. Like he is still extremely valuable with Chubb there. I actually think that the backfield works better when they're both on the field. Seems like they just want to pound the rock. It's not like it's not like his value skyrocketed when Chubb was out. So I kind of feel like they'll both be productive down the stretch.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you're looking at both of those guys. I mean, yeah, they work perfectly in tandem. And, Kareem, it gives them variety, with Cleveland. They could do whatever they want. They can, you're always guessing when one of those guys is on there. Chubb can catch the ball too, but, obviously we know Kareem Hunt could do that as well. And, they clearly want to do that. They're I believe they're top 5 in run percentage this year. So with OBJ out, it's really Landry and Hooper, and then just throw everybody else in the hat and pick one out. But yeah, I mean, these are guys. I mean, if you look at their your schedule, I mean, these are guys you want to try to pick up before the trade deadline if you can. I mean, they still have Jacksonville at Tennessee, and then the fantasy playoffs week 15 and 16 at the Giants and at the Jets. So. I mean, that rivals Baltimore as far as their late season schedule.
Yeah, I have zero interest in Landry. I have no problem just not even having him on your roster. Maybe he's just your last bench guy that you're just not dropping just in case. Hooper is somebody that I'm going to be holding on to. I do like as back end tight end 1. That means nothing. There's about 12 guys, it feels like, in that same range. But hopefully Hooper gets back to being Hooper as he was earlier in the season. Let's just move on to the next game because we're 2 games in and we're 20 minutes. Atlanta at New Orleans. This is going to be a fun game, I think. I'm excited to see if New Orleans defense can keep up what they're doing against this, stout Atlanta offense. So you're going to start your studs. You're going to start Julio. You're going to probably start Matt Ryan, I would imagine. Probably starting Todd Gurley. And then do you think Ridley's going to play?
I don't think Ridley's going to play right now. I didn't like what I heard out of the coach in the beginning of the week. And by the Saints defense doing what they do you mean giving up passing touchdowns left and right everywhere? Because their names are good, but their production this year has been absolute crap. I think they've given up 20 passing touchdowns already. I think Julio is going to go bananas in this one.
For fantasy purposes, the Saints defense have been good the last 3 weeks.
Oh, you mean like scoring if you have them on your
I do have them, and I have been playing them, and it has worked out. But they also played Nick Mullins and whoever before that, so it doesn't really matter. If Ridley sits, are you going to be playing a secondary wide receiver? Maybe a Gage or Kevin. How do you pronounce his name?
Zacchaeus.
Olamide Zacchaeus.
Yes, thank you. Kevin's the resident pronunciation master here. Are you going to be playing either of them?
I think I'd have some interest in Gage if Ridley sits, kind of as like a boomer bust type guy. Hopefully he would be like the third option in that offense.
Remember back in the day when we were so excited for Russell Gage, like week 2, week 3, it was like, this guy's the second coming. Oh my gosh. They could even move on from Julio if they want to get out from under that contract. And like his peak since then is nope, he had 114 yards week 1, and since then he has peaked at 65 yards. Like it's insane just how poorly he's played since. So
He is like
Yeah.
the guy that peaked too early in high school, and
Beat me to it.
yeah,
I was thinking the
Truly-
same thing.
it's just
He
it's
truly is-
Hallam. It's completely Hallam. Oh, I get what you're saying.
I did not peak it. Believe me, I did not peak in high school. Believe me, not a chance.
He truly is our generation's Harry Douglas.
Okay, so New Orleans. So going back to the unpronounceable name that was in the chat.
Michael Thomas.
No, the guy that was in our chat asking about Wentz versus Winston. How are you feeling about Winston this week? I actually want to go around, so we'll start with Kevin. We'll go down, and we'll end with Hallam.
Go, ladies first. Start with Sam.
I know, but then I have to go diagonal, and then it's like up, and like fine. Sam, go because someone's a gentleman.
Such a bad thing.
I am actually pretty excited about Winston. Like, yeah, I just feel like it's going to be that stereotypical Winston game. He's going to throw 5 touchdowns and 3 interceptions or something like that. And it'll still probably get you like 25 fantasy points in the process. And it's just, I mean, I love it. And I think Atlanta's defense is trash, and he's got so many weapons. He can throw 1 yard past the line of scrimmage to like Alvin Kamara, who will rip off like a 30-yard run. So, I mean, those all count for him. So, and I'm pretty excited, for the other guys in that offense, because like, I think I saw that like Drew Brees' average depth of target since 2019 is like 32nd in the league, and Winston's is first in the league. So could be some good bonanza potential there. Yeah, that's how I feel.
Ryan.
Cautiously optimistic, I think, is what I'll say. Here's my problem with Winston, besides the interceptions, was, I mean, he was not good last year or really the year before, but I thought he was good enough to get a job, and no one gave him a chance. So that concerns me. Like, do NFL teams know something we don't know, that he went from 30 touchdowns to a backup? So I think he can get it done. I like some of the weapons on the team, but there's something gnawing at me a little bit worried. Did I pick him up in several leagues? Yes, I did. So yes, I think that everything is in front of him to succeed. I'd like to see it though, and he can get an easier lead in than Atlanta. So cautiously optimistic, I think, is how I'd say my feeling.
And Kevin.
I just want to point out, thank you, Will, again. I appreciate the chivalry is not dead, ladies and gentlemen.
That is true.
That is true. But, Jameis Winston, he is what he is. I mean, he doesn't give a shit. He just throws the ball up. He could unlock Michael Thomas this week. Finally. I mean, I think he hasn't finished over like
that is.
I know, right? Not Cincy Mike Thomas, New Orleans Michael Thomas. So, I mean, hey, did you hear he had LASIK too? And his backup is going to be making $21 million. Taysom Hill.
Oh God!
How about?
Can we? Yeah, we have to double click on that after that.
Yeah, we'll get into that and Mickey Loomis, but yeah, I mean Jameis Winston against this team, he should. The floor is 3 touchdowns and probably 15 points. You got to figure in, if he gets over that, he's going to get back on with like 2 or 3 interceptions, 200 high 200s in yards, maybe a fumble, but yeah, he's going to definitely. He's going to make an adventure out of it. Hey, there's a wardrobe change from Ryan Hallam.
This segment brought to you by the Scott Fish Bowl.
I like that you changed your shirt and it now looks like you're wearing earrings.
It kind of does.
These are my piercings, Gary.
Yeah,
These are my piercings.
I put in the bones. All right, so
but
I do have a question.
I have gotten so many questions about Taysom Hill, like from the Fantasy Pro stream yesterday to on TikTok. Everyone's asking me, like, do I drop Hunter Henry and play Taysom Hill? Like, these are actual questions that I have received, because they're all like, oh my God, because he's tight end eligible and everything. So I'd love to hear what you guys think about the Taysom Hill situation.
I would play him over Hunter Henry, but that's just that's a Hunter Henry take, not.
He's playing the Jets this week. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be a Kalen Balaj game. I feel like it's a revenge game, right?
The
Right,
kind of
2
revenge game, yeah.
games in a row. I love it.
Yeah, I think it's worthwhile playing him just because you know that he's going to get guaranteed touches. Henry's not going to get guaranteed touches. That's how I look at it, even if they're weird manufactured touches. Ryan?
I hate Taysom Hill. I think he's horrible. I hate when they bring him in and they give him the snap of the ball and he can't catch it and the offense gets out of sync and the play doesn't go anywhere. It's so stupid. The design runs, that's fine. That works. But these stupid gadget plays that they try to give him to, they frig it up every single time. And Drew Brees has to be so pissed on the sidelines that he put this jackass in when he's driving the team down the field and he gets the ball at the 5-yard line and gets to run into the end zone every once in a while.
Ryan, tell us how you really feel.
Yeah, no shit.
Did you see when they had Taysom Hill in and then they put Breeze out wide and Breeze did like a 3-step drop back off the line? And you're like, you're a wide receiver, dude. What the hell are you doing?
All these quarterbacks that they bring in, and they bring him in, the whole drive is one guy, and they bring in the other guy. It's so stupid. I hope this trend ends soon because it goes wrong 90% of the time. The guy drops a snap or something stupid, or he can't pitch to the running back, or something stupid happens every single time. Sorry.
Kevin, you say what you're going to say because otherwise I'm just going to correct Hallam because I think that Taysom Hill is actually effective every time he touches the ball.
Oh, really? Did you see him drop the freaking snap last week?
So, like, people drop snaps. That happens.
Yeah, I don't really care about Taysom Hill, honestly. I mean, if you're really starting him, I mean, you just have to know that he has a 0 floor. So, I mean, do I want to take a shot? I guess really after like tight end 7, you're taking a shot on guys anyway, if he's eligible at tight end in your league. But I don't have any skin in the game. I don't really care one way or the other, honestly. Taysom Hill's he's a gimmick.
It just seems like they force him the ball for the sake of forcing him the ball, and that's why he's successful. They just keep putting him in situations where it's a gimme to have something happen, and that's why it happens. It's not like he's all of a sudden some great skilled player.
I think the gimmick is that they put him as a tight end in fantasy.
Yes,
he needs to just be QB. Like, he's just like, you're not going to put Jalen Hurts in or like Robert Griffin, like in the past, or Lamar when it was Flacco as a starter. Like, these are just guys that come in and they mix them up. Like, the fact that he is eligible for other positions is absolutely ridiculous. If you want to do that, put Kittle at wide receiver also.
Why tight end? If anything, he lines up in the backfield most of the time. Right. He should be running back. Where the hell did they come up with tight end? I don't understand it. But you're right. He's not a horrible play because, like I just said, they do force it to him all the time down by the red zone. So he does score some. I just think in real football-wise, it's just trash, and I really don't like it, in case you couldn't tell.
We'll move on to the next game. The one final thing I want to say, if it wasn't Sean Payton doing this, if like Matt Patricia or Adam Gase was doing this, we would just burn the stadium to the ground and be like, this is the stupidest thing anyone's ever done. But it's Sean Payton. You're like, he's a genius, blah, blah, blah. So he gets some due. So
Ryan gave him no pass, though, because he's Sean Payton. So.
No. So let's move on. Cincinnati at the Washington, the football team,
those football teamers.
Ryan's favorite nickname for a team. Anyway, so Cincinnati. Kevin, talk to us about T. Higgins.
He's good. Didn't you hear? Yeah, he's been wide receiver 9 since week 3. I mean, T. Higgins is just a superstar in the making right now. Tyler Boyd's been there, and he'll be a very dependable slot guy. AJ Green is just dust upon dust. I have him at wide receiver 7 this week over Julio. He's just fantastic. I think, Burrow to Higgins is going to be something we're going to be hearing about for the next almost a decade.
Yeah.
Do you know that Kevin's name in the league that we play in together is High T. Higgins?
Damn right.
I love it.
Number 4, Fighting Fantasy Pros expert consensus rankings rank Kevin Tompkins for week 10. Way to go.
I got lucky.
Yeah, something like that.
I threw this shit on the wall and it's stuck this week.
Yep. So are you going to be starting? You're probably going to be starting Tyler Boyd. I don't know if you can get away from starting Tyler Boyd ever. He's just one of those set and forget wide receiver 2 with a little bit of upside and not really any downside. So with the running game, it sounds like Mixon still has not found his foot yet. It's run away. We don't even know if he has 2 feet at this point. And so it's going to be Gio, but Gio Bernard has been losing some work to Samaje Perine and Travion Williams. Are we still trusting Gio moving forward? He always has those few games each season, and I'm wondering if he's just run out of gas. Samantha.
I don't know. I mean, it's kind of a toughish matchup. Like, Washington has a decent defensive line, and yeah, I mean, like you said, he's just not been super, super exciting over the last couple of weeks. But that said, I think the passing game does give you a better floor than some of those other guys in that tier.
Yep.
So I think that's worth considering, especially with like how volatile and crappy this RB landscape can get after, let's say like RB 20 or something like that. It gets dicey.
I think I'll personally be buying the dip that people, for whatever reason, think that he lost a step last week. The week before, he did lose some stuff to Perine and Williams, but he was going up against the Steelers last week. I think they're going to get back to it and give Gio some push. They just saw what Swift did against the I almost I forgot what their name is. Nope, just the Washington football team. So, Ryan, you are officially right. That statement right there confirmed it. Anybody feel any differently? You think Gio is just going to shit the bed, or are you guys willing to still just put him in there as an RB2? Ryan, Kevin.
I think he still belongs on your roster. I do believe that he's a little run out of gas. He's not this kind of back. He's never been a back to like lead the team or get this many carries this many weeks in a row. So I think that's where it's wearing on him. And that's the problem. But I think that he'll still be good enough this game, and the receiving floor, makes him still a viable option. I'm not, throwing him in a DFS lineup, but, I think he's good enough this week that he's at worst a flex play still. I still think he'll get the majority of the work.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's a flex play, but not feeling great about it. You're really just hoping for volume, and we've seen him, get 18 touches in week 7 and 8 with 3 touchdowns. Off came the bye week, and then they got Perine and Travion Williams involved. So I would say any kind of upside that he does have, he's really going to have to do it in the passing game to even get up to RB2 level. But Joe Mixon. We'll see what happens, but he does have the Giants after this too. So if Mixon is still sidelined, at least that's a better matchup that I'd feel better starting him as an RB2. But on this one, with Washington's front line, not feeling great about it, but I do have to start him, in a couple leagues just because.
Yeah. To the other side of the ball, we got the Washington football team led by the Alex Smith, and man, I felt really bad for him. He put over 350 yards and yet didn't get any touchdowns because they just happened to be 3 rushing touchdowns by Gibson and McKissick. I think Gibson and McKissick are pretty close to auto starts. You're just going to put them in because they have a baseline. Even McKissick, who just happens to have this insane, I think he has 35 targets in the last 2 weeks, which I don't 29. Even remember a wide receiver that is getting that same.
He leads football.
I wonder why. Maybe because the quarterback has a noodle arm and can't throw the ball down the field.
So what do we do then with Terry? Okay, so Terry McLaurin, the apple of Kevin's eye.
Come on, man.
It's never even a question. Not start him? Are you insane?
Thank you, Ryan.
Noodle arm, Terry McLaurin. I don't know. It
still works. But Kyle Allen and Terry McLaurin worked. Dwayne Haskins and Terry McLaurin worked. And now he's quarterback proof. You could go out there with your big 6'5" lanky ass and throw him touchdowns. It doesn't matter. This guy's just that good. It doesn't matter who his quarterback is.
McLaurin's a 9 A-dot receiver anyway. He's not a guy that's you don't have to throw him, 9 routes or anything like that. He's one of I believe he's top 3 in yak on the year too. So, I mean, he is matchup independent. He is quarterback independent.
I'm sorry I called you lanky. Your body's beautiful, Gary.
It's okay. I'm just excited that Kevin put in here, McLaurin must start. And I thought, I'm going to throw a question out there and see if I can get them. I got you guys.
To be honest, I didn't even look at the rundown.
It's okay. Oh,
that's how much of a pro Ryan is.
Yeah.
I literally texted Ryan. Sorry, I literally asked him if he made any notes for this, and he was like, "No, I'm fine."
I got this.
Ryan could sell a ketchup popsicle to a woman in white gloves.
Oh man, you guys always give me all these nice movie references.
I have no idea what that's about.
That's from Tommy Boy. Samantha, for Christ's sake. When this is over, go watch Tommy Boy. You young person.
I just haven't seen a lot of movies. I'm sorry. So.
Okay, well,
We'll get you a TV. We'll crowdfund it. So
You
can
have a
actually
TV?
watch
You don't have a
movies.
TV?
No.
She has a mini fridge stocked with just all the alcohol you can
like
imagine.
so much.
That is
alcohol
cool.
in
She has-
there, but-
That is
I-
cool.
I love this. Alcoholic beverage? I mean, that was badass.
Right.
But
You know that's your bed. Like next to your bed, you have a mini fridge. I guarantee this.
I have a bar in the living room. I do not have a fridge next to the bed, but that's a good idea.
If you have a fridge next to your bed and you're like not in a fraternity or like college, like that is.
You have a really cool wife.
Erin she won't let me have a fridge downstairs in her den where we won't
She
watch
doesn't
most of her
trust
TV.
you.
She said we can get a fridge in the garage, but that still involves walking. So
I used to have a fridge in the garage, but it turned out to be not worth it.
Just got to do the LT and just blast a hole through the wall so that you don't have to walk around to get to your garage. There you go. Moving on to the Detroit Lions at the Carolina Panthers, the little pesky Carolina Panthers who keep putting up fights and then just losing them. Man, the Lions, they finally anointed DeAndre Swift their starter. Damn, he looks pretty darn good, right? Everybody was pretty excited for that. And finally, he got shit on for, I don't know, just going to the Lions. What was it going to do with carry on? They brought in AP, and yet here we are, week 11, Matt Patricia finally making the smart decision 10 weeks too late. I love it. DeAndre Swift is just awesome to watch. Is he a wide receiver, running back one moving forward?
He's not a wide receiver one, but
Well, he could be. The dude knows how to catch like a
fact, he
mofo.
is not.
no, I do feel like he's an RB1 moving forward. I was super hype on him coming out of college from RBU, my UGA Bulldogs. But yeah, I'm kind of annoyed that it's taken this long for Matt Patricia to figure that out. I don't know if he's been like
He's too
asleep,
smart, that's all.
asleep. But yeah, I mean, wow, it's 10 weeks and 35-year-old Adrian Peterson is not the answer. So take shots.
Can we also have him call Baltimore and tell them to give J.K. Dobbins the friggin' ball too?
Thank
so we
you.
can unlock them
Right?
running backs.
It'd be amazing.
But I think Swift. I agree. I think Swift is a lower end RB1. A lot of action out of the backfield with passes as well. I think he's got a big time last 6 or 7 weeks here in front of him.
It's going to be a good time.
Yeah, and that was the big impediment with Swift was when can Matt Patricia get out of his own way and stop playing AP and stop playing Kerryon Johnson? We finally saw one game where Swift did get, I believe it was 72% of the snaps and got just a lion's share every snap, every opportunity but 6, I believe. I think he got 21 touches. So yeah, Swift is absolutely a running back one going forward.
And Carolina's defense, my Carolina Panthers, are allowing the 4th most fantasy points to running backs this year. So definitely a good matchup.
I do want to actually ask a question because Marvin Jones has kind of anointed himself back as being a wide receiver too because Kenny Golladay has been out. I don't think they're expecting Golladay back this week.
He did practice, but limited, I believe.
Yep.
I don't expect him back though. Still, not this week.
Marvin Hall,
We lost Gary.
Gary. We really did.
Wait,
Yeah.
it shows you as Gary now.
I'm Gary. So let me just keep talking. Marvin Hall to me is like David Moore in Seattle. He's gonna get a big catch every now and then, but he's just not somebody. I'm not Gary anymore.
That's fantastic. I really appreciated you stepping in there.
That was seamless.
I was in on him like 2 weeks ago, and he did nothing. And then last week, he obviously did something. Is he Stafford's MVS, or is he better or worse?
I think worse.
Worse.
I think it's a couple of big plays, but it's just. Plus, Stafford with this thumb injury, I know he's probably going to play through it, but it's on his passing hand. He can't be chucking the ball 50 yards down the field, you wouldn't think. So that's why I think Marvin Jones gets even a little bit more run because he's probably the only guy who's going to run these 6-yard routes that Stafford hit him in. wasn't big on Hall before, but with Stafford's thumb injury, I'm definitely out on him.
It makes me like Hawkensock a little bit more.
Hawkensock?
Yeah, Hawkensock.
Oh my god! If MVS is a coin flip, Marvin Hall is like one of those Dungeons and Dragons 26-sided die.
A dodecahedron?
Oh God,
Sure.
Jesus
Gary,
Christ.
are you a player?
Hell no. But I just like the word dodecahedron.
Gary is going to LARP after this, so
It's just my life, man. I live it. Carolina. Man, is Teddy gonna start? Is Teddy gonna play?
I don't think so. It'd be
Don't think
stupid
so.
too. You don't have McCaffrey. You're not going anywhere. The guy almost lost his leg last year. Sit him down.
Yeah.
Hey, what really, besides him being a tough guy, is the point of him playing? And as a guy who enjoyed the XFL, I really want to see PJ Walker play a whole game. The
Who
dude
did
can
PJ
throw
Walker
the ball.
play with in college?
I don't know. He played through college. I said I like the XFL.
I thought in college he played with Matt Rule.
Yeah,
He did play for Matt
He
Rule.
was at Temple.
No,
Yeah.
I did not know that.
There's a connection there. Yeah. So like even in draft season, there was like a reason to take PJ Walker in case Teddy shit the bed, and all of a sudden it
bread.
just made sense.
or the
It'd be so much worse. He made a sandwich out of it. It wasn't just the bed.
This is
He
the
was
sourdough.
eating the sandwich in bed. There were crumbs everywhere. His wife
Do
was
you,
mad.
do you toast it first or do you mayonnaise?
What?
I don't know.
Ryan,
guys
you're
are
just
out of
being
control.
ridiculous now. All of us are on a different.
You said shit sandwich.
All right, so if PJ Walker starts, what are you going to do with DJ Moore? What do you do with Robbie Anderson?
I hate these receivers in general, just because after last season, when DJ Moore seems like the anointed wide receiver one, caught 1,000 yards, and then their usage of him has just been baffling. And of course, I told everyone to sit him last week, and I sat him in my own leagues,
And,
following my
and
own,
the truth comes out for where the opinion comes from.
and was actually very bummed. Yeah, a couple people asked me, and I was like, "Leave me alone." Like, it stinks. It's really tough to trust these guys. It just seems like it's not even like Robbie Anderson is like that good, and that's why DJ Moore is bad. It's just a kind of like baffling situation in general. I'm just more high on like Mike Davis this week, just because, especially if like PJ Walker starts, I feel like those like short yardage passes will be a big deal.
Kevin, what is this in here about Robbie Anderson?
the shower narrative, because he played with what's his face, Walker, at Temple.
In the shower?
That's the shower narrative. That's who came up with that? I want to say it was JJ Zacharyson.
So this
if
isn't
you
a sex thing. This is like
no, this is
lots of targets.
yes,
there a
this
beer
is
in the
if you went
Or a
possibly.
margarita.
Margarita.
Shower narrative is if you played with somebody in college.
Is that like Eskimo
Okay.
brother? I don't know what's going on.
Kind of, if you went to Temple in Philadelphia.
You guys are so off the
Temple,
rails.
Eiffel Tower. It's all the same position.
Well,
Spanish
okay.
Shower
to
narrative.
get us back on the rails here, because you guys are ridiculous. To me, DJ Moore, the problem is he's just like so dependent on the big play. If you look at the games that he's actually been good, you'll look at his long pass. It's always 45 yards, 57 yards, 46. He catches like one or two big passes, and it turns out to look like a decent game. And his other three catches are good for 6 yards. But he has a play or two that puts him into fantasy relevance. And that's why it drives everybody nuts, because sometimes he doesn't get that big play, because Teddy Bridgewater doesn't exactly have the strongest arm in the world either. But Moore makes some catches, and sometimes he runs for a long way. Is it going to happen this week? Who the hell knows? Probably. I mean, they're not playing a good team. But I think that's why he's maddeningly inconsistent, because he's very, very dependent on the big play, which I don't think he was really in the past without having his
not at
career
all.
pulled up in front of me. And Robbie Anderson hasn't scored since the first week of the season. And he just keeps going down, 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 down a little bit each week. And that's wholly frustrating, because I kind of liked him in the beginning of the year. And now he's unusable, and don't even start with Curtis Samuel.
Well, the thing is with PJ Walker, I mean, I think those receivers are fine. You're going to downgrade them, but I don't think they're just unstartable. I think you can start Robbie Anderson. I think you can start Mike Davis. Clearly, I think you could maybe make a case for Curtis Samuel if you're really hung up on your flex. But DJ Moore is a guy that I'm not playing. I think with the short passing, it's going to benefit those three guys and then kind of leave DJ Moore out in the cold. So I'm kind of staying away from DJ Moore. I am totally fine playing Robbie Anderson, totally fine with all those other guys. I think they're gonna do a little bit more to tailor a game plan after PJ Walker and let him get out a little bit. He was great in the XFL. He's fantastic. You know how many dynasty shares I have of that guy in like the last round?
And you know what? When he did come in the last time Teddy Bridgewater's mangled body was on the field, he actually came in and threw the ball. It wasn't like normal backup quarterbacks where he handed the ball.
He threw a deep shot.
Oh yeah, this guy's got some confidence. He's going to throw. He's going to come in and throw. If he starts, it's not like Carolina's just going to hand the ball to Mike Davis 45 times. I think Walker's going to come in there. He's got a ton of confidence. I don't know if it's going to be very accurate, but I think the guy's going to get in there and sling it.
And
He's got some Brad Evans huevos.
It also helps that Carolina's defense is so bad. It feels like they'll just have to
And so is Detroit's.
Yeah.
Ryan, I completely disagree with you on Curtis Samuel. If you're going to say that DJ Moore is just this guy that's just boom or bust, Curtis Samuel is the exact almost opposite right now. They are manufacturing touches. They're giving him touches out of the backfield. If you're going to be concerned about the average depth of target that PJ Walker could potentially bring, Curtis Samuel is going to be the guy that they're going to make sure they get touches to because he is fantastic. He is electric. He has been since college. He's just never consistently been able to do it.
He's just never done it in the NFL.
But this season, he has been able to.
He had 2 good games, Gary.
And they happen to be 2 of the last 3.
Yes. And
he had one down game against the Buccaneers, and now he's going against the Lions. I'm happy to continue starting Curtis Samuel in our beer league against you.
Are we playing each other?
I have no idea, but I
mean, it
was more dramatic effect. Can we move on?
Yes, let's
move on to the next game. I have to go refill my drink. Kevin, you're up.
Oh, thank you.
I need a costume.
All right, let's get some sense in here. So we got Steelers at Jacksonville here. James Conner keeps letting us down in smash spots. He had one against Dallas. Kind of not his fault because the game kind of got away from them in the beginning with the Garrett Gilbert experience. But now he gets Jacksonville. I mean, where do you kind of draw the line with James Conner here? I mean, at some point you just gotta take your foot off the gas and now direct that over to Sam. I mean, what are we doing with James Conner at this point?
I mean, we can't really direct that over to anyone else, but
I didn't even know Ryan was gone.
No, it's fine. I'm cool. I'm here. I mean, I feel like who else are you going to start over him, especially in this matchup? Everyone seems to run all over Jacksonville. I think you just have to keep rolling him out, especially, just he in the offense. Just a number of things here. I don't like, who are you starting? What 2 running backs do you have that are better than him, basically, in most leagues?
That's fair.
My only concern, and I think we're talking about James Conner, was the fact that they beat the hell out of the Bengals last week and they just continued to throw. Like, that's my only concern. Was normally you go up 28-9 and you hand the ball off for most of the fourth quarter, and they just kept laying the wood to the Bengals. I like James Conner. I agree with you. You're definitely starting him. That was a little bit of a red flag for me and something I'll be watching this week because they should win again. It's not like he's ceding carries to anyone else. So it's not like
they're playing. Yeah, they're playing empty sets way more than any other team.
Yeah, it's not like Benny Snell's getting carries or Jalen Samuels or McFarland or anything. So that's the weird part. Like, he's not losing work. He's just losing opportunity.
Yeah.
I think that Tomlin is at the point where they know. I mean, they're clearly a playoff team. If they haven't clinched yet, they would have to lose out to whatever. So I think that this was one of those games where they're like, let's just do stuff and let's just mess with the rest of the NFL because we're going to the playoffs. We need to start putting looks out there that are going to throw people off. You're now 9-0, I think it is, and clearly one of the best teams in the NFL, maybe top 7, maybe even top 3 because of their defense. So I'm not too worried about what they're doing with Conner. What?
You went from the best team in the NFL to top 7 to top 3.
I said 3. One of the best.
Then
top
weird.
7 to top 3. I said 1.
Gary knows how to sit on a fence, Ryan.
7 and 3 were just weird choices to go.
It's hard when you factor in all this stuff, and then anyway.
The top 10, top 5. You just went 7 and 3. Threw me off a little bit.
The air's thinner up there.
4.5 teams in the NFL. I don't know. So I'm not too worried about it. I think that they're going to continue to do well. It's a division game. They like to do. I don't know. Division games are weird, and I think everybody was shocked by what Roethlisberger continued to do, considering his injuries. I don't think that's just going to be the regular.
I agree.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Jacksonville? Anyone?
I hate DJ Chark, another guy. I have an entire team, I want to say, of like the initial guys. I took AJ Brown, DJ Moore, and DJ Chark, thinking that I was a genius for getting all those guys. And it's been a disappointing season.
We never go two DJs. Two DJs never make a right.
I mean, it's just too much. Yeah, it's like two negatives make a positive. But yeah, I mean, it just feels like we can never get consistency out of Chark. And, I don't feel great about Jake Luton, and I don't feel good about going up against the Steelers cornerbacks. So maybe he goes off. Like, who knows? It's like, of course, you say sit him and he goes off, but like, you don't feel good about starting him this week.
So I do have a real question about this then, and that's, do you start James Robinson? Like, nobody's comfortable starting a pass catcher. Like, that's understandable, but James Robinson's going up against one of the best rush defenses also.
Yeah, I feel like you have to start James Robinson. Yep. He's a lock. Even in this tough matchup, I feel he's like a low end RB1.
I think in every matchup, probably he's a low end RB1. Yeah, I would agree completely. And I just like the fact that I get to say J-Rob, because A-Rob is kind of like AR-15, and that became A-Rob, and now it's J-Rob. Ryan, I hate you, but I love you.
Wait, I didn't even notice. Ryan, you changed it again.
You got to always watch. You never know what's going to happen over here.
Really keeping us on our toes.
I'd also like to say, since you're on the show tonight, Samantha, that this segment is also brought to you by Support Women in Sports, because you deal with an awful lot of crap on the internet, and we're all here with you. And we think that people on Twitter and TikTok and all are shitty, and you rock.
Thank you, and follow me at Samantha NFL without the underscore. I know.
Yeah, I'm dumb. I'm sorry.
It's cool. It's not even a real account. But if you're gonna say something to me online, just try to say something nice. Think about that. If you want to say something mean, like yell it out to your cat, and then say something nice to me.
We're also a pro cat show for anybody that just heard that. ASPCA. Sorry, guys.
It's just the Ulster County SPCA, not affiliated with the ASPCA, and I do not like cats.
I forgot how much of an animal person you are.
Why?
A dog person.
Yeah, I hate the cats. There's two cats. One's almost dead. I can't wait. And the other one's cool. He doesn't really do anything.
Ryan's wife is the vice president or the president of a random chapter of the ASPCA in some unknown city. I don't want to tell people where you live, so I'm saying some random chapter in some random state.
Who's like, oh, gotta get me that Hallam. It doesn't make a difference. I live in Kingston, New York. It's Ulster County. Come find me.
Does anyone,
you're not going to be that.
Slide into your DMs and ask them to will you pay me to kick you in the balls? Does everyone else get these questions?
I don't. I got a DM from Uganda the other day, though.
Oh, that's cool.
From the country?
Well, somebody representing themselves from Uganda says sorry to bother you, and then that was the only message. I'm waiting, okay, what else you got? Nothing. That was it. Uganda. So sorry to bother you by sending you this random DM.
You weren't getting a $2.7 million inheritance? That's where usually those messages come from.
I already got that. I'm good.
A new tactic by them.
Yeah.
No, and I don't get the kick me in the balls crowd. I don't get the pee on me, poop on me crowd either. So I would just delete, block, and move on if I was you. Who wants to get kicked in the balls? It's like the worst thing in the world. And now you're going to pay for it? I don't care what she looks like. It's not worth it.
All right, so speaking of kicking in the balls, this game is probably going to do that for you. The Titans at the Baltimore Ravens. That's a beautiful segue, and I didn't go to school for that.
That was beautiful.
That's why you're the best.
Not really enthused by anybody as far as Tennessee. Tennessee's been kind of on a downslide, and so is Baltimore. You're starting AJ Brown, you're starting Derrick Henry. Jonnu Smith is in that just mashup of tight ends that you're hoping gets into the end zone. Not really much to talk about with Tennessee, but I'll go to Baltimore because there's a more pressing issue there, and that's with Nick Boyle out for the rest of the season. We might be able to see Mark Andrews actually get a full complement of snaps, not just 40 to 50%. So basically we've seen Mark Andrews disappoint. If you drafted him in the 3rd or 4th round, you're not happy with the way that, seeing how he went last year and really just the state of the Baltimore offense. So, Mark Andrews, with their schedule, how that lines up with Nick Boyle being out. Ryan, you think Mark Andrews is a top 4 tight end the rest of the way?
I sure hope so, Kev. I didn't see that Nick Boyle news. Thank you. I just had to update our projections real fast.
Jeez, Ryan.
I know. I hope so, man. But it's the offense and Lamar. Honestly, it's just been bad. Obviously he's better last week, and he gets a kind of a cupcake matchup this week. So it's like if Andrews and Brown don't pop off a little bit this week, when are they going to? So it's kind of like and like you said, you drafted Andrews high. I drafted him, I think, once, and not because I didn't want him, just didn't happen. But who are you playing over? I mean, there's been a couple guys on the wire over the year, but the tight end sucks. So I think you just kind of have to continue to grin and bear it and hope that this is this is what gets them over. And Boyle was getting some action, so I guess is the long terrible answer.
I mean, I took him in the league that we play in, Kevin. I took him at keeper value, so I thought I was getting great value. It's like $38 on a $250 budget, which felt really good. And he's been disappointing, but it's also like, who the hell do you have that's better than him on your roster? Like that you feel really, really good at. Like unless you have like him and Darren Waller or something like that, which sounds very weird unless you're in like Scott Fish where you have like the tight end premium scoring, like there's no one else you're starting above him. So you kind of have to just trust that there will maybe be more targets now.
I don't know if there's going to be that much of an uptick in targets because Nick Boyle was in there. He's one of the best run blocking tight ends this season so far. So that's my concern. I just think that Baltimore has just kind of gotten over the hump of having some pretty tough matchups. And I think that we're just going to see Mark Andrews being used a little bit more. This honestly, it's just, you have 2 good running backs and you have Mark Ingram, plus you have Lamar already running. And I think that he'll get a little bit better, but I don't think we're going to see the days of 7 for 80 and 2 touchdowns. God, I hope that happens this week for the rest of the season.
I mean,
I don't see them.
I don't know if it was even tough matchups, Gary. Like he was just missing throws. Like he would miss Marquise Brown by like 2-3 yards. I don't know that necessarily mattered who they were playing. It's just horrifically inaccurate. Not that he was, he's Aaron Rodgers last year, but I mean, this is just shockingly worse than last year.
Yeah. And if Baltimore didn't have such a cake playoff schedule, or at least the matchups now, Tennessee at Pittsburgh, Dallas at Cleveland, Jacksonville Giants. If they didn't have that schedule, Marquise Brown would be a drop. Mark Andrews, I think I said it a couple weeks ago where I'm looking to drop him. And, if I had a good tight end, maybe if I had a pickup, I would drop Mark Andrews. I mean, it's really getting to that point, and it's really tough. I've started Joe Burrow over Lamar Jackson in one league a few times. So it's just teams are catching on to the Baltimore offense. We've seen that with Greg Roman. He just fails to adjust when teams are on them.
Yep. And Lamar is like not getting to the edge like last year. Like when he was running last year, no one could stop him. And now this year, it seems like he's getting caught behind the line or not that far past it an awful lot. It's like not even the same guy from last year.
It's like they have the Super Bowl slump, but they didn't actually go to the Super Bowl. So
no, we have No, we have injuries.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to New England at Houston. So right now, we were a couple weeks ago, we were looking at the New England offense and like, what can we trust here? I mean, with this matchup against Houston, you could pretty much trust almost everybody. Well, not almost everybody, but Jacoby Myers certainly, who I think is a league winner. Cam Newton, I think you can start here. Damian Harris has been on a run. I mean, much has been said about trusting a Patriots running back, but Sam, can we trust Damian Harris here?
I think you can, as mercurial as Bill Belichick can be with running backs. Like, obviously that gives a big caveat here, but it looks like he's been the guy and he's been productive in matchups that have been tougher. like he did well. I mean, I know there was probably gonna be like decently more running versus in like a shitty weather situation, but still did well against Baltimore in a matchup that I thought he wouldn't do well in. So yeah, I mean, I think you can trust him. He's in that RB2 range in that conversation right now.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
I just left you guys completely dumbfounded. Yeah. With my analysis.
It's just such a weird offense. Like, it's hard to get excited about anything. Like, Jakobi Meyers has been exciting what he's done the past few weeks, but outside of that, there's not much. Damian Harris, I'll give him a pass for last week going against the Ravens and coming off of an injury. We weren't sure if he was going to play. He looks good. He looks like, I don't want to say just a guy. He looks like just a back end RB2, like someone you're never excited to start. But if you're going to put him in just because you know that there's the chance that he's going to pop off. But when he pops, like, his runs look good. They're getting his ability to have these like 10, 15-yard runs. I don't think we're seeing him do anything really far beyond 15 yards.
I mean, he's not a super dynamic guy because he's just more game script depending. He's not involved in the passing game at all. So I think that.
What college did he go to?
Good question.
I have no idea.
Went to Bama.
Did he?
He did.
Yeah.
Yes.
He went to UGA, maybe.
No, he went to Bama.
No, he went to Bama.
Did he?
Yes.
Oh, I actually thought that he went to UGA. One lie. That's why I asked.
All right.
Moving on.
Yeah. So yeah, let's move on. I guess Gary's going to throw this over to me for the rest of the show. Miami at Denver. So I mean, Miami has been, on a roll since Tua Tagovailoa has been installed at quarterback. I mean, we know a lot of that's due to the special teams and defense, but I mean, they're scoring enough points to win. I mean, and that's how you win football games, believe it or not. I mean, that's not a hot take. Trust me. But we know Salvin Ahmed's been running pretty decently. I mean, we know Matt Breida is going to be coming back. So, Devontae Parker is still hard to trust. But, is there, when Myles Gaskin comes back, I mean, what do we do with this run game? I mean, go with Ryan. What do you think about this Miami run game between Ahmed, returning Breida, possibly Gaskin coming back in the next couple weeks?
I'm glad you asked me because I do have an opinion, but Breida is not going to be a thing at all. I'm sorry.
Thank you. Yes.
He can't stay healthy, and when he did, he's not going to stay healthy. From watching the 49ers, he always tears something or pulls something or whatever, and then he misses 3 weeks. He can't get back on the field. And let's face it, he didn't even really get on the field. I mean, Myles Gaskin just took the job right off the bat. And I watched some of the Dolphins last week, and it's really not that exciting brand of football. But Ahmed really impressed me. I like the kid. Yeah, he has some nice bursts, a little bit of elusivity. I like him. I think he's gonna. I think he's got a chance. That's my move. I think he's got.
You haven't moved like that since grade school.
I think he's got a chance to keep some role even when Gaskin comes back. Not a big one. But I think he still can have like a 5 to 7 carry kind of role when Gaskin comes back. And if he keeps running like this, Gaskin better hurry his ass back up.
I feel the same way. I feel like it's going to be a pretty big endorsement. The fact that, Jordan Howard was a healthy scratch for that game, then he's also been dropped now. And the fact that they were willing to give this undrafted free agent 21 carries last week, I mean, that's pretty impressive. And he was productive with that. And I'm really high on this Miami offense right now that Tua is there. I just feel like they're red hot. It's like a not great matchup this week, but I still feel like he's like a borderline RB2 for this week.
What I like about Tua is a rookie quarterback is not doing dumb things. He's not forcing things. He's not making dumb throws. I like his decision-making. I think his talent will come a little bit over time. I don't think he's going to be a great fantasy producer this year, but I like the football IQ for that you can kind of see while he's playing. He's making good decisions, and I think the rest will come in time, and hopefully, maybe get him another weapon.
It's interesting seeing him compared to the other younger quarterbacks in the league right now. I mean, obviously, he's going to always be compared to Herbert. He's going to be compared to Burrow, and that. He really does almost strike me as he has more legs than them, but kind of the older Peyton Manning-esque, smarter QBs that are just making almost like the Drew Brees type thing. Like they're making the shorter throws and not just trying to huck it downfield just to try and have something that's very Herbert-esque. And it, like you said, the football IQ. So I'm just intrigued to see how this is going to translate over the next few years as we have these QBs that are coming up that are all trying to be Mahomes and they're trying to be Russell Wilson with these entirely different kind of throwing profiles that Tua seems to be not limited, but reduced in because he is making smarter throws.
I've never been so jealous of a person in my life as just over-the-shoulder alcohol. But yeah, I'd like to say that I heart Justin Herbert with all of my heart. I think the kid is an absolute stud. Is going to continue to be great. Just the gunslinger mentality. I can't tell you how much I love him. But yeah, I think you're right. Everything you said about Tua is right. I think he's got a future in the league. He's got to have more than Devontae Parker and Jakeem Grant, though. I think he's being held down now by – I think they're still kind of letting the gloves off a little bit. And he also needs more –
I wanted to say I heard this on the Atlantic podcast, but they were just talking about, Miami has the Texans pick, which is going to be top 5, top 10. And like, what happens if you were to put like a Jamar Chase with a Tua, and whether or not the Dolphins office would even want to do something like that, because they've made such smart moves. Like, I mean, shit, they're going to potentially be a playoff team already, and everybody wrote them off this year. Like, I have said this. Kevin's heard me say this a nonstop. Like, I believe that the Dolphins are making smart moves, and here we are. They're already, I believe it's 6-3, and they're just seeming to get better and better weekly. And what's going to happen when they have this high pick plus a second first-round pick that's going to be their own? Like, their future is very sky high.
Yeah, and I think a lot of credit goes to Brian Flores, who's gotten those guys to play. They played hard as hell last year to end the season when they were trashed the first 10 games. And that shit carries over. Look at the 49ers a couple years ago, and they finished real strong, and then they came out the next year and took a step. So kudos to Brian Flores. I think he's one of the better young head coaches in the league.
Hell yeah. Completely agree.
And I will say one more thing, too. Salvin Ahmed and Myles Gaskin, there is a shower narrative there, too. Both played at Washington. Moving on to and also with Tua, I like to call that playing within the offense, something that's very lost these days. Denver, Jerry Jeudy is a must start for the next 10 years, even in this tough matchup. But my attention is going to KJ Hamler. We know Miami has two great bookend corners in Byron Jones and Xavier Howard. So I think that's a matchup to exploit with KJ Hamler getting 10 targets the last 2 games, getting to avoid both of those corners and get Nick Needham in the slot. So what do we think about Hamler this week for the DGAF Denver Broncos and Drew Lock?
Could not agree more. I think you hit it perfectly.
Yeah, I agree. Drew Lock is like the new Blake Bortles or something.
Well, he's all busted up too. His ribs are all messed up. See if he even plays.
My favorite starter on the Denver offense is going to be the Miami defense this week. Honestly, like they're playing lights out. Their quarterback's screwed. It's not as if Melgo has done anything. Philip Lindsay is the only thing I might be nervous about somehow breaking something. Jerry Jeudy is amazing, as you said, and KJ Hamler is a field stretcher, but you got to be able to have someone passing to him, right?
You do. I heard that. You need a quarterback
Apparently.
to be able to throw the ball. You can't just throw Taysom Hill back there.
Or was it Ripien?
Rippin?
Steve Rapin?
Rippin.
I mean, I don't even think he's like that much of a downgrade from Lock at this point.
No, he wasn't that bad that one game he plays against the Jets.
It was the Jets, but
That game against Flacco.
April Kevin talking up Drew Lock just got palpitations.
Oh, I almost just brought it up, so you just preempted me making fun of you. You are a lucky star that you thought of that.
And I made a whole TikTok about how much I didn't like Drew Lock.
I can't.
Oh boy. All right. Well, let's go over to the Jets and Chargers here. Monday Night Football, the Jets look pretty competent. I'll say that, with Joe Flacco throwing deep to Brashad Perryman and Crowder. If I'm looking at their schedule, of all the games there, I think, dare I say, this could be the one win. This could be a sneaky game for the Jets. I will I'm not going to say they're going to outright win, but this has the best shot of them winning a game, honestly, in LA. So Crowder, Rashad Perryman, Flacco, say what you want, but can lightning strike twice with Rashad Perryman here? We know he did it about this time last season with Tampa. So can we get maybe an encore this year?
Flacco is pretty much Winston.
No, he's not. Flacco doesn't have any arm left. I know he has
he's not like
he had that one long pass last week, but no, the Patriots
old
defense,
man Winston.
The Patriots defense is absolute garbage. I think that's why Flacco looked halfway decent. I just can't see this happening again. I think Herbert's going to pass all over them, and I just can't see Flacco having 2 straight good games. I know the Chargers secondary isn't very good, but I'm out on
those are mutually exclusive. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but those are mutually exclusive things. Like Flacco can have a game and pass on what is not a good Chargers defense, and they can win this game because the Chargers can still put up 4 touchdowns and lose this game. How many times have we seen it so far?
They keep finding new ways.
Herbert's
to
lights
games,
out.
So,
Yeah, exactly.
I think
if they lose this game, fire Anthony Lynn.
Oh my God, right there. Like, don't even let him take the bus back to the hotel.
Yep.
Then go get Lincoln Riley, and then the Chargers are off and running.
I think the Jets suck more than the Chargers find ways to lose.
I agree completely.
That is a low bar. So let's go over to the Chargers. I mean, is Kalen Ballage being fantasy relevant the most 2020 thing that's happened this year? I think it might be. He's averaged 20 touches a game his last 2 games. So until Eckler comes back, I mean, Ballage is a locked in RB2, right?
Maybe 1.
Yeah.
That's how sad it is. I mean, he's getting a lot of receptions too. I can't believe it. But
It makes me sad because I was really high on a few guys in this backfield, like Joshua Kelly. And I mean, Justin Jefferson's hurt, but like Kelly, I actually thought would be a lot better. And they clearly hate him. So
Same. Yeah. For real.
For whatever reason. So it seems like it is Kalen Ballage's backfield at this point, which yes, feels very 2020. He is the Rockefeller Center Christmas tree right now. you're like, I guess that's what we got.
Kevin, remind us we need to do an award show in the off season. We'll do a 2020 award because I'm trying to think of anyone else that might be on the same plane as Ballage, and McKissick is the only person that I can think of. But
until Andre Ellington comes back, and then it's all systems go. But I want to do that week 17.
Oh yeah, we did talk about that. Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna get a suit. I'm gonna dress up. I'm gonna have star wipes. I'm pre-recorded. These were the awards given out before the show. It's going. All right. Yeah. Let's go over to my Packers and the Indianapolis Colts, and Packers are finally getting Allen Lazard back. I would really make the argument that this would probably take away from Jamal Williams in the passing game since he's been a fixture there. Ever since pretty much they didn't have Lazard, and when MVS was, when the coin flip didn't go their way, but between the 2 other receivers in Green Bay, and we'll go around the table, and I'll start with, it's not a table, it's a stream. Starting with Sam, Lazard or MVS rest of season?
I am going with Lazard. I was actually pretty high on Lazard going into the season, and I know he's been hurt. He's been dealing with stuff. I'm convinced he is at least the better option at wide receiver 2. I mean, the better option would have been for the GM to draft a wide receiver, but since we're not in that situation, feels like Lazard's the guy. MVS is just that coin flip type guy, or dodecahedron, whatever you want to call it. I mean, it's a toughish matchup against the Colts this week, but that said, Aaron Rodgers is playing out of his mind, so yeah.
I mean, they brought in Devin Funchess. What else did you want them to do in the offseason?
Yeah, really. What else did we want them to do?
I have zero interest in Allen Lazard
this week. He really
this
moved
week.
the needle like Devin Funchess.
But I really like Lazard rest of season. I just don't like him this week. I'm worried about the core injury. I'm nervous that it's something that takes a bit to come back to. I mean, he had actual core surgery, right?
Yeah, he had surgery. Like when they ruled him out, I think it was midweek, and they put him on IR. He had surgery like that weekend, and that was what, week 4, I think.
It was early.
Yeah, it was week 4.
So I want to give him a week to come back against a really good defense. And if he is going to be playing over the middle at all, Darius Leonard could knock stitches out.
I don't think he still has stitches, bro. It's been like 2 months.
I mean, staples, glue.
I would hope he's fully healed by now. I hope he's not coming on the field with open wounds.
Ryan, how do you feel about Alan Lazard?
I agree with both of you. Wait, both of you. Wait.
YMCA. Oh God, woman down.
Oh God, I'm back.
Do I need to put up the technical difficulties thing and play the music?
Sorry. I pulled my headphones.
Close your muscle
I
trying
got
to
too
reach for more
excited.
alcohol in the mini fridge.
Samantha needs core surgery tomorrow.
Yeah, I was gonna say
I will be wearing the non-contact jersey.
she's doubtful for TikTok.
Yeah, I agree. Lazard, the rest of the season, this week is definitely a tough matchup. You guys both hit it right.
Yep. And now let's go over to the Colts. I mean, much has been said about Jonathan Taylor and Nyheim Hines, who was running back 3 last week in PPR, and Jordan Wilkins, the ghost of Jordan Wilkins. So we don't have to talk about that, but let's talk about Michael Pittman. Is he finally the answer at wide receiver for the Colts? And can we finally just retire Dusty T.Y. Hilton?
Dusty.
You should have dropped T.Y. Hilton 6 weeks ago, but yeah, I definitely they didn't draft him when they drafted him come in to be a bum. I think Pittman's just coming to his own. We'll see if Jair Alexander plays this week to see if he has a tough matchup or not. If Alexander's out, Pittman's all systems go. Despite what DJ Chark fell short last week against the Packers, I don't think Pittman makes that mistake. I think if Alexander's out, Pittman's a good start this week.
Also, that was just like a bad weather situation last week.
Yeah.
Like a number
Less
of things
windy in
working
a dome.
against him.
A little bit.
A little less windy.
They
I
have
mean,
strong
he seems to
fans.
have like good chemistry with Phillip Rivers, something that like clearly T.Y. Hilton didn't have or doesn't have. I'm acting like he's literally dead, like Requiem and Terra Pax, but basically dead for fantasy.
Well, he is everything that the other guys are not in that wide receiver room. Is he is big, he is physical, he can out-muscle anybody. I mean, you're looking at T.Y. Hilton, who is 5'11" and, running the slot and then running the outside, and then all these other Jags like Pascal and Marcus Johnson and, oh my God. Yeah, I'm going to ignore that.
We're on bye.
So-
Okay, we're on bye.
Yeah, bye. So yeah, Michael Pittman's awesome. I think he's a wide receiver 3 with upside every week now.
I'm really curious to see what they do in the offseason. If they're going to say, like, we have this defensive core, we know that they're legit. They obviously ascended to being a top 7, maybe top 3 defense. And I don't know, like, are they really going to stick with Rivers, who has, God, sometimes I want to say he's one of the few QBs that's been a better real life quarterback than fantasy, but also a better fantasy quarterback than real life because he turns the ball over. So I think if they can get a young quarterback in there to pair with Pittman, to pair with Campbell, they obviously have Hines and Taylor. I don't know. Like, I think this is the type of team that if they can get someone in there quick enough, and I think, is it Eason is their backup right now? Like, I'm not going to go with a 6-round quarterback or whatever it was. Like, I want to try and get someone that's a little bit higher end. I don't know if they're able to get him or just bring in somebody a little bit younger than Rivers. This team to me is you can throw people into your lineup, but it's nobody that I'm expecting to go gangbusters other than the occasional Hines game. I will say that I actually think that Taylor's going to have a good game this week because, unfortunately, the Packers, as have been shown by Raheem Mostert, by Colin Kaepernick, like, they don't know how to stop the run.
What is with the digs, guys? Come on.
He wore
See
the
what I got to
jersey.
deal with, Sam?
Put the jersey on.
You know what? Here's what I will say, which pisses me off about the Raheem Mostert stuff, is that he ran over your team so bad in the NFC Championship game that I have to defend my quarterback all the time that he only threw the ball 8 times because.
Yeah, anyway.
So anyway, we're Ryan Hallam.
Connection problems. Yeah, so we'll get him back in here, but yeah.
Did you just kick him out?
I
I can't tell if you kicked him out or if he accidentally left.
Well, if he asks, he hit something.
Okay.
Anyway, let's go over to what's the next game here? Dallas
Dallas
at,
and Minnesota.
yeah. So I mean, Andy Dalton should be back. He's practicing. Does that do anything for you regarding the Dallas offense here? I mean, does it really matter who else is at quarterback?
It definitely makes a difference against Minnesota. It makes a huge difference. Even Ryan Hallam could throw a touchdown against them. Minnesota. Just kidding, because Nick Foles clearly couldn't.
We had connection problems, buddy. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I saw that. I was in mid rant. I kept going even after you cut me out, just so I could get it out.
That is commitment right there.
He was just looking at Molly, looking at the other dogs. I don't know her name, and just being like, ah.
I love you, Ryan.
I love you too. That was pretty funny.
Andy Dalton.
Because
Yeah,
at first,
obviously-
wait, I gotta say, because at first I thought I had connection problems, then I was like, oh, he cut me off. Anyway.
Well, see, the thing is, I've never done that to anybody, and I thought it would just at least keep you in the queue. I didn't know it would like completely boot you off.
No, it was like sign back into whatever site we're on. I was like, oh, okay. And it's like log in, and then I'm like, wait, I don't have a. Yeah. Now I figured it out.
I was like, I hope he
if you're
finds his way.
listening, this is a StreamYard plug. Ryan
StreamYard.
doesn't know that.
Sorry. You got. I've never been. I've only been on this with you guys. It works well though.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. But yeah, Andy Dalton sucks.
Yeah, he does.
Andy Dalton does not suck because he's better than Garrett Gilbert, and
That is a
bench.
low bar. Come on.
It's a low bar. That is,
Wait. Garrett Gilbert.
Gary is
moved-
playing limbo
Who
with the
moved
Dallas
the,
Cowboys quarterbacks.
who moved the ball better so far? Andy Dalton or Garrett Gilbert against a Steelers team? By the way,
over the course of their career, or are we talking about that
no,
one week?
I'm talking about this year
iteration
on
of
the Cowboys.
I think that Andy Dalton is a better quarterback than Garrett Gilbert. Garrett Gilbert did move the ball well against a quarterback, but I think that I firmly believe that some teams look forward to next week.
Just because Dalton got his head beat on the turf like a ping pong ball, it's not his fault.
A red ping pong ball.
A red ping pong ball. True.
I think Andy Dalton will come back, and I think that it will give a little bit more life to Amari, some more life to CeeDee Lamb. I think they had a bye week to try and figure out what they can and can't do. Figure out how to get Pollard like 70% of the touches because their other running back isn't that good. I'm totally kidding. Just
Cut him off.
being inflammatory. It'll be interesting to see. Like, I think a week makes a big difference for a team that's reeling from injuries and a terrible defense, and Zeke had fumbling issues. Like, there's just all these different things that I think that Andy Dalton is probably going to come back and have a pretty good game. This is specifically in reference to they're not playing the Steelers. They're playing the opposite in the Vikings, right?
Yeah. Do you have any
Vikings have
interest-
been better though on defense.
Yes, they have been better. But, like, that doesn't mean they've
Better.
been good. They also just played Foles.
I mean, do you have any interest in Dalton Schultz as a streamer this week?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think I said it earlier and I wasn't a joke. Like, I think that the back end of tight end 1 is really about 10 to 12 tight ends that could all fit within tight end 6 to 12. And I think that Schultz has actually shown through all 3 of these, Schultz has been the one person that's consistently at targets. I think he's had 4 catches plus whatever yardage, I think, through all 3 of these quarterbacks. And it's really difficult to switch between different quarterbacks, right? From all my time playing in the NFL, I thought it was very hard.
Do you think Schultz could be about 3rd or maybe 7th in tight end this week?
That's way too high. You're just being ridiculous now.
Can I make one more observation before we stick to football? Okay. So your wire, Gary, coming down from wherever it's coming down to, looks like you have an IV going into like you're in the hospital, and that is
Do you think
dripping
this is not for my ears?
Oh, what is that? Whatever it is, it looks like an IV.
It's my
He's hooking
No,
up
I'm
the
kidding.
Dalton Schultz to his veins.
I know we bought one of these, an arm, and if I have it down here, it looks like a giant penis, and if I have it up here, then it looks like an IV. I normally use my AirPods because I just learned that they can connect through this thing, But I'm in the middle of training some new reps for my company, and so I'm using my AirPods throughout the day, and they're dead by the time we get here. So thanks for bringing up work. I appreciate it, Ryan.
I didn't bring up work. I brought up your IV wire.
What if it was?
All
Man,
right.
so you're just bringing up my medical issues? Where'd Samantha go?
She wants to go.
Anyway. We all know that she did.
All right, let's go into Minnesota. So, Ryan, I mean, you're starting your studs in Minnesota. You know, Cook, Jefferson, Thielen, maybe even Cousins if you need to start. I'm using the streaming category. But if Irv Smith's out again with that groin injury, I mean, Kyle Rudolph, I'd say he's a top 10 play this week at tight end.
Yeah, if Irv Smith is out, I'd say on volume he is in those 12 tight ends that Gary was talking about that could fit in the back end of tight end. If you're streaming or if your guy is just terrible, he's worth a shot. He could do it, but again, all depends definitely on Smith being out.
Can I just add that like Dalvin and we'll get Dalvin and Kamara? I think are going to be – I'm going to pay up for all of them in all of my DFS lineups. They both just have too good of matchups. Like Dalvin's going against Dallas and Kamara's going against Atlanta. So I will pay the exorbitant amount that they will need to be for DFS just because they're going to smash.
Sorry, I left you guys. My phone is dying, which is what I'm talking to you guys on because my internet sucks.
So we have to get you a computer and a TV? Jesus. Now I get why you moved from New York to Colorado. It's kind of cheaper.
Do they have internet over there?
Colorado, no.
Yeah,
No.
there's no internet out here.
We just smoke a lot and stare at the wall.
If Kevin has it in Dakota, she has it in Colorado.
That's a valid point.
Look, I've just had issues with like video streaming, like particularly like podcast type things. So I figured it would be better for connection reasons. But now my phone's dying because we're an hour and 30 minutes into this. So.
Well, let's rush. Let's get through these two games here.
No, I'm not complaining. Just saying.
I am.
Of course you are, Ryan.
Did you carry out? Because now.
No, I swear to God, I didn't this time. Oh, I didn't kick Gary out either.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is the Kevin Tompkins show featuring Kevin Tompkins. Because Gary is. Yeah, do your hair. You're the new Gary. Oh, he's back. Damn it. I mean, hey Gary. My connection's been stable. I mean,
it's not my connection. It's I move my hand is over here and I move it across my mouse pad and it swipes to like go back and all of a sudden I'm out of the so anyway.
Likely story.
Yeah.
Anyway, Chiefs at the Raiders. So is this going to be this could be a redux of week 5. I mean, with KC, you're starting all of your studs, you're starting Mahomes, Hill, Kelsey, it goes up without saying. Watkins also likely to be back. We'll see about that, but the run game, that's really been the question about the Chiefs the last, few weeks here. Now we see Darrell Williams taking third down work, CEH and Bell in that true split. Are these guys going to cannibalize and keep going? I mean, are we going to see any kind of separation between the two? I mean, pretty much caps any kind of upside you want in your starting RB2. And I'll go to Ryan. I mean, what are we really doing with this backfield?
I mean, the problem is the Chiefs did something weird. They brought in a guy to help the run game, and then they stopped running altogether. Like neither one of them gets more than like 4 or sometimes 3, sometimes 7 carries. And that's it. Like they're just completely uninvolved. And I didn't see that coming when they brought in a second good running back that they would all of a sudden stop using both of them. I think Edwards-Helaire has the higher ceiling. I thought Le'Veon Bell would come in and be better, but maybe it wasn't all Adam Gase. Maybe I don't know. I don't think there's any way you can put Bell in a lineup. You can put CEH in a flex, and that's it for me.
I think we're going to see 5 to 6 touchdowns from Mahomes. I'm not even I'll start CEH. I'm not going to start the other running backs. I also really like, and we'll get some in a sec, but I really like the Raiders for fantasy purposes because I think this is going to be one of those games where we're probably looking at somewhere around 60, 70 points scored.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, they have I think they've gone over 7 times this season already. So kind of always on that bonanza.
I don't see the Raiders doing what they did last time. I don't know what. They just don't believe in the team, and they've been surprising me all season long. But they have no wide receiver.
Yep.
How and I know that they didn't last time either, and somehow they hung 30 on the Chiefs. But I don't see how they keep doing it. I don't understand it.
I see them putting up like 20 to 25 points, and I think that the Chiefs are going to put up 35 to 40.
Okay. I think
it's going to be the flip plus more for the Chiefs because I think that Andy Reid's going to be able to watch that game tape and be like, nope, we're not doing X, Y, and Z. And Mahomes, not only is he one of the best, he is the best quarterback in the NFL. He is also one of the smartest quarterbacks in the NFL. He knows what the hell he's doing. He's on a different level, buddy. And I think this is going to be one of those games where even if it's just Hill and Kelsey, he'll be like, all right, let's get 5 touchdowns between the two of you.
He does have very poor choice of women, though. I will say that. That woman is a disaster.
I don't think we can get into that because I don't know enough about it. And
do you see her Twitter videos?
I don't know. She got around on it.
No, last year you didn't see her scream through after every game. You really missed that?
Oh, you're talking about. Oh, okay. Brittany.
Mahomes, his wife now, I believe. I believe they're married now.
Oh, they're engaged.
Engaged. Okay.
Yeah. She's with child, so.
Yeah. She is a
smartest thing she's ever done.
Yeah, no kidding. She is a whack
most
job.
Expensive bullet he ever shot.
What? No.
Kevin, move us along.
Yeah, so I mean, we pretty much talked. I mean, I'll just throw this one stat out there: the Raiders and Chiefs are obviously, well, I mean, the Chiefs certainly, but the Raiders are surprisingly the most efficient team as far as scoring on their possessions. They've scored at 55% of their possessions, which is the highest in the NFL. The Chiefs are second with 56.5 implied points. I mean, this could turn into a shootout, but with to Ryan's point, no receiver in that Week 5 game had over 2 catches for the Raiders. So it's
but you don't need that. Like
right.
They know how to do it. Derek Carr is going to be looked back on as the most underrated quarterback of 2020. He's legit. He's not elite, but he is legit.
He's legit. He's been, I mean, the last 3 games he's been quarterback 20 or lower. So yeah, he's starting to backslide a little bit, but this is a good game for him to, he's likely to get into that top 14, 15, maybe even jump in the top 12. But they spread it around. They don't go to just one guy, even though they could do that with Waller.
Yeah. I feel like we're going to spend too much time on the Raiders if we get into this, but like Ruggs is a rookie, Edwards is a rookie who has been injured most of the season. We obviously have Waller and we have Jacobs. Hunter Renfrow he's a young, I'm just going to say Edelman for lack of a better term, but like he's more than that. He stretches a little bit more. They're missing like one key piece. Now, like something like it, if they had an Antonio Brown, I don't know why I would say that, but they are a piece away, and Derek Carr has done what he's done with his metrics wise with these pieces that haven't been great. My biggest concern about this offense, not from a negative thing, but from like a fantasy detracting, is Devontae Booker. They use him enough that it's eating in, and I'm confused about that, but honestly, they have the pieces here. I mean, they already beat the Chiefs, so not kind of like mic drop on that. So let's move to the next game.
Yeah, the final game, Rams at Buccaneers. So with the Rams, I mean, this 3-headed backfield, I mean, it's anybody's guess. It's, Henderson and Brown and Akers got the first carry, and then really, I think he only got 4 more carries after that. So tough to trust any of that. But Robert Woods, I didn't get out the jersey and I meant to do that, but my boy Robert Woods has pretty much played third fiddle to Cooper Kupp and Josh Reynolds recently. I mean, I look at Josh Reynolds as playing that Brandon Cooks role of field stretching. So right now, in the state of the offense, with the Rams running the ball more than they ever did, that's pretty much eliminating any kind of viability out of the third pass catcher in that offense, which right now is Woods. So, what do you think about Woods as far as rest of season? I mean, clearly he's still going to be involved. He's getting all the snaps. It's just, down the field, he's not really seeing a lot of that. That's Reynolds. When they're needing, third downs, that's really Cooper Kupp. So Woods is just kind of picking up scraps. Is he more of a wide receiver 3 rest of season?
Wide receiver 2, since no one else is saying anything. I would go and buy Woods right now. You can probably get him on a dip, and I think the rest of season he's going to slay. He's going to be awesome. I think he's probably their most important piece of their offense.
All right, then.
Well,
with Woods, as
I
far
love
as
Robert Woods, and I have him in so many leagues, so I'm hoping that you're right, Gary.
yeah, I mean, I am too. Certainly, I have enough of exposure to him. But the one thing that we could say about that, I actually, was somewhat right about with Robert Woods is the red zone target, regression. He saw just an abnormally low amount, and now he's tied for the team lead with 10 red zone targets. But nothing's really coming of that. So it's tough to see with the Rams. And then going on the other side of the Buccaneers, Rojo fumbled in week 10, but unlike the other weeks where Bruce Arians pulled him, they kept the bid, went 23 for 192 and a touchdown. Fournette still getting 11 touches out, in that backfield. Rojo only played 60% of those snaps, but can we finally pin our hopes on one running back, Rojo, to spearhead this backfield?
Probably not.
I say
Sorry.
Ryan, then Sam.
I mean, it's just going back and forth so many times. I mean, yeah, ladies first. Just going back and forth so many times. How can we trust anything? It seems like he wants to trust Ronald Jones, and then something happens and he forgets about it for 2 weeks, and then he goes back and trusts Ronald Jones again. So with so little time left in the season, maybe. But if something happened 2 weeks from now and Fournette started getting 20 carries, I wouldn't be surprised.
Sam, rebuttal.
he always feels like a fumble away from getting benched for the rest of the season. And I know that he did fumble in that game and still got work, but he just makes me really nervous. And he's a more limited type player. He's not as good at pass protection, and he's not as good as a pass catcher. So he has limitations. So it's we trust him for asterisk for this game, and reserve the right to revisit that basically after this game.
I mean, to her point, I mean, let's look at Jones's career. He played 1 in 1A with Peyton Barber his entire career and could never separate from, despite the fact that he was a pretty high draft pick. And Leonard Fournette's been, I don't want to say a superstar, but a star running back in his career before, ran out of favor in Jacksonville. So, I mean, if we're looking at careers too, that points to Fournette. Catching passes out of the backfield points to Fournette. But some reason Arians keeps coming back to Jones, and at a lot of times he's succeeding. But so week 11, to me, it's hard to start Leonard Fournette. But if it changed 2 more times before week 17, I wouldn't be surprised either.
I'm comfortable with them both being RB3s, each of them with upsides to be even all the way up to RB1s, as we've seen with Rojo. The offense is too good. This is going to sound strange, but I actually think that one of my confusions is bringing in Antonio Brown. If you want to be a rush team with Rojo, you brought in Fournette, then why are you bringing in Antonio Brown when you already had Scotty Miller, Godwin, and Evans, plus you had Gronk, who you had to know was going to get better. You see him in practice, we don't get to see do it in a COVID year, unless you're going to say we want to be much more of a pass heavy team. Rojo did really well, and he had a 98-yard touchdown. We take that out. He had 22 for 98. I know that's weird logic, but that's what happened in a blowout where they were up literally by double. It was 46-23. So I don't know how the splits go with Rojo and where his carries were during the game and whatnot, but they're not RB2s for me at any point moving forward. They are RB3s, and they are very high RB3s with upside, both of them.
Brown's there because of Brady. I mean, there's no other way to slice it. He wanted Brown on the team.
Literally,
and that makes sense. That's fine, but that just means Brady's going to throw a little bit extra if he can. Because he already has Evans, who supposedly, we want to get him 10 targets a game, and they have Godwin, who has been in and out. When all 3 of them are healthy, they're going to do everything they can to just pass on teams and blow them out. I think I honestly think Bruce and Tom want to go out being let's win a Super Bowl on Tom's arm. But that's narrative. So,
I mean, It's kind of funny. I just feel Brady has Bruce Arians bent over
Yeah.
like somewhere. It just seems like he's like, yeah, like I'll do whatever. Because at the beginning of the year, he was just like never. He would never take Antonio Brown. Would never risk that.
Yep.
And now he's like fawning over Brady too. Like he just gave like the most positive interview I've ever heard him ever give. So like about Brady. So just yeah, I mean he's only there because of that.
Well, thanks for the nightmare fuel, Sam. I really appreciate that.
Okay, you know what? You have given us a lot of imagery tonight about shower time and
Shower narrative.
Whoa. Is this a negative?
I also like how Gary's on first name basis with both Bruce and Tom.
Yeah. He's got him in his
Alright.
speed dial, apparently.
I know what type of paint Bruce likes, and I know what type of fruits Tom doesn't like. That's all I know.
Cool. Well, that about wraps up week 11. Gary, you're shaking over there, and I can see that. But yeah, Sam, Ryan, thank you so much for coming on with us. And sorry it ran so long. I know you have busy schedules. Ryan, it's almost 11:30 over there on the East Coast. Let you get out of here. Tell us where we can find all your stuff on the internet, since we didn't give you a proper introduction. That's when you graced us
That's true.
8 minutes in.
I feel so slighted. FantasyAlarm.com. You can see I have game previews that just posted today that are free to the entire world. Break down every game, every fantasy relevant player, give you a prediction, everything you could hope for there. I do a live stream every Monday at 3 with Justin Fensterman, where we break down the day before and get ready for the Monday Night Football game. I do a wide receiver and cornerback article that posts every Thursday, and various other things that are not seen to the public.
The boilerplate stuff. You're rocking it over there.
Like,
It's my shower relationship with the Fantasy Alarm.
The Ryan Hallam Fantasy Alarm shower narrative is alive and well. Sam, tell us again where we can find all your stuff.
at Samantha NFL on Twitter for my like weird stream of consciousness tweets, and at S3V on TikTok and Instagram, and my written work on nypost.com. And I also host the Sleepers Sprawl podcast. Find me on all the mediums.
And like every podcast known to man, by the way.
I'm on
Yeah.
3 different podcasts, I'm a guest on 3 different podcasts this week, so I feel #blessed.
This is the only one that will let me on. I don't know why.
Oh, Ryan, we love you, but
Love you guys too.
you gotta get yourself out there, man.
I know. Nobody invites me, bro. I'm not gonna ask myself. I'm not gonna beg.
You
Go
just
to
said
my-
you were coming. You just said you were coming on here, and that's like okay.
Oh, that's true. Go
No,
to fighting.
excuse me. I'm like basically Ryan's booker here because I'm pretty sure
That's
that I said we should have him on at the same time.
That is true. Go to
That's because
Fighting
we
Chance.
love both of you.
Go to Fighting Chance Fantasy. There's all kinds of good stuff on there.
There is. I've heard of that website. It's pretty good. Not gonna lie.
Me too. I like
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, you should. You're the Godfather.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. Gary, anything else before we vamoose here?
No, man, it was just thank you guys so much. Awesome to see both of you. Always a pleasure. You guys are always welcome. Maybe not at the same time. She was just too much to handle in the most amazing kind of way possible. Sam, please get a TV, a computer, and a phone charger. We'll get the GoFundMe going to the FCF crew.
GoFundMe.com/Espervidi.
Yeah.
I also just have to point out that Ryan heard that green screens are the way to go. And so he put up a green curtain behind him, thinking he could do whatever he wanted to.
That might be a tablecloth. I don't know.
That's my green screen.
Might be good for your like fledgling TikTok career or something.
It looks like
I
a
know.
curtain, but I also know it's your green screen. So
I don't.
bad jokes at this point. I apologize.
I'm still waiting for you guys to get on TikTok, so kind of disappointed.
My wife's on it. I just am not. She
I'm not
loves
smart.
smart
I have-
dances.
I have it, and I did one TikTok, and now I can't figure it out, and I don't know where. I got to re-download it. I think
First time's a charm.
the Robert Woods one. That's my claim to fame. I just did that and logged out. I'm good.
Mic drop.
So, I have a green screen too. I just don't have the lighting for it. So once I get that, we're making bad TikToks, just like I make bad fleets on Twitter now. So yeah, that was Fighting Chance Live. That ran a little long. So
Love you guys.
I love you too, Gary. Go put on an undershirt, please. For Gary, for Ryan, for Samantha, I am Kevin Tompkins, and have a great week, everybody.
Jesus Christ, Gary.